Hey, party people, and by party people I mean folks in the chat watching the show over here at Adobe Live for today's illustration masterclass. Glad you could join me. We are today going to talk about drawing in perspective in your favorite mobile drawing app, maybe your favorite drawing app period, Adobe Fresco. If it's not your favorite yet, don't worry, it will be. We're going to make you love it. Anyway, I love it. I use it every day. And I'm going to show you why, because it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. And today we're going to talk about the new perspective tools that were added back in October for Adobe Max. Hope you had a chance to watch and see what was going on there with Adobe Max. It was lovely. What an event. What a wonderful event. Bear with me one second. I'm just going to get the chat up here. I was having some trouble getting the chat to behave and be good. It was being very bad. So I try and see if it will now. I just keep refreshing and refreshing and refreshing, and yeah, hoping that it's gonna eventually do its thing. Success! Oh my God, how exciting! All right, I can say hi to some folks now. All right, I see we have Wade. What's up? We have somebody called Adobe Account. Well, I'm sure that's not the real name, but thanks for joining us. Bruce, how you doing? The weekend is in sight, indeed, 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 indeed. Viola, how you doing? Nice to see you as well. And Steve, hello. Gareth, how you doing? Christelle, salut. Who else do we have here? Oh, another one, Adobe Account. I wonder if that's the same person. Marcy, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Folks, if you're watching over on YouTube or Twitter, remember that I'm going to be following the chat at be.net/Adobe Live. Okay, be.net/Adobe Live. This is the Behance website where we do a lot of these Adobe Live shows. It's a great place to hang out, meet some nice folks. And if you join the chat over there, everybody can see your profile and they can look at your portfolio if they so choose. Nice community. Nice way to have some community over there. All right, so I'm going to jump over to the old iPad here, and we're going to get started. Drawing in perspective in Adobe Fresco. It's a delight. You'll see here I'm doing a rough sketch. What I want to have is this interior, and I'm going to turn on my touches here for a moment, but I will turn them off again when I do more drawing, because I'll tell you, for me, if I have the touches turned on, it's a big blue circle so you can follow my cursor wherever I go. I'm going to do that while I explain the perspective tools so you can see what I'm doing on the screen. But then once I've explained everything, I'm going to turn them back off because I want to be able to see very precisely what I'm drawing, and I like to not have that big blue circle in the way. But for now, here we go. We're going to input, touch, and we're going to show touches. Okay, so now look, every time I touch the screen with my Apple Pencil, you're going to see that blue dot, so you know where I am and what I am doing. Okay. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Adobe Fresco, it works on iPads, it works on iPhones, and it works on a lot of Windows devices. Okay, so lots of options there for you. I'm working on an iPad Pro today. Lovely iPad Pro. And here, anyway, what I was going to say is I was thinking, like, I want to have this sort of interior thing going on where I have a couch, sort of mid-century modern style couch, you know, nice simple shapes. And I'm going to have a person, you know, here, just kind of like leaning up against this arm of the couch. Put a little pillow back there for them. And they're just chilling out here and reading a book. Okay, so put their head here, like this. Have a leg up here and another leg sort of out like that on this couch. Okay, that's the basic idea here. Just sketching with the default pencil here in Fresco. Okay, so that's it. Nothing too fancy. This is really kind of the main area of action. So then I'm also going to throw in here like a coffee table kind of deal. Have that kind of come off the frame there. Give that some legs, and there you go. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe I'll put some other stuff on there, like some magazines and whatnot. Maybe, and these are supposed to be like lights hanging from the ceiling, And here behind this person, starting about the shoulder there, what I wanted to have here was this big window, like basically almost floor to ceiling. Because here's the ceiling up here. I'm going to shade that in so you can see that. That's the ceiling. And then I want this to all be like glass. And I want there to be a door back here. Or rather, not really a door, but just like an opening that leads to some other space, you know? That's the general idea. All right, so we want this to make sense. And I mean, I'm just, right now you can see I'm very loosely kind of indicating what the perspective is. But now we're going to get to the good stuff where I'm going to use these actual tools that will get me a lot farther along and make this work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to enlarge this slightly. So I want that figure to be slightly more in the frame there. Make everything a bit bigger. Okay, that's it. So let's get cooking. Here's what you got to do. I'm over here at the top right. You'll notice we have this brand new panel here in Fresco, and that is I'm going to move this microphone, make sure y'all can hear me clearly. There you go. Okay. Right over here, see where my little Apple Pencil is there? I'm going to tap right there, and here you see our new precision panel. Now, the precision panel has a couple things going on. One is you can control snapping for rotation. Simply what that means is this. Look, I'm going to draw a little shape right here. Okay, and if I go to my transform tool here and I rotate it, see that? It's going to snap. See how it goes blue? It's going to snap every 30 degrees because that is what I've told it to do. Okay, see this? 30 degrees. If I go to 45, well, you know, no surprise. It's going to snap every 45 degrees. Okay, you get the idea, right, folks? So that's a nice thing to be able to control, and you can also turn that off altogether if you don't want it. Up to you. Okay. Now, here we get to the alignment guides. Let's do this. Grids. Bam. Turn on the grids. Wow, all of a sudden, I've got all these options, okay? And this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about all these lovely options we have here for you. Let's start with our grid type. Now, before we get to perspective, I'm just going to quickly point out we do have graph grids now here in Fresco. I can control the opacity of these grids. I can control the color of these grids. Let's go a nice bright pink. See that? And if you want to change the size, you can simply tap and go up or down, like so. That's an easy, zippy way to do it. Or you can tap and hold for a second, and you can pull up the old keyboard number pad, whatever you want to call it, and you can enter in a very specific number. So maybe I want to do 100. There we go. Okay. So nothing will snap to these graphs, but I'm going to say this to you all. Nothing will snap. Here's the important word, yet. Yes, we're going to make sure that in the future you'll be able to use these graph grids with drawing aids so that they snap in place, and that's going to be very handy. Okay. But for now, they're there for just guiding you, and that's fine. And that's all we have to say about graph grids for now. I'm going to now move it over to perspective because this is where we're going to get really fancy. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to change the grid color so I can really see it clearly. So I'm going to go again. I like that kind of pink, magenta-y kind of color. I like that. That's a nice one. All right, so I've done that. And I want you to look here at vanishing points, okay? In perspective drawing, we have 1, 2-point, and 3-point grids for you all. You can choose what you need for your drawing. If you're drawing Spider-Man on the top of the building and you want to have that sort of bird's eye view, you might want to use some 3-point perspective. If you're doing a standard layout like an interior that I'm doing here, I'm going to go for a 2-point grid, okay? And let's take a look at how we adjust our vanishing points. Right here, there's a little option, Edit Vanishing Points. And I'm going to just tap on that. And now you'll see that I can zoom way out and I can start to do things like this. I can drag down and I can set my horizon line, which I want to be about there. Okay. I can drag my right vanishing point out, right? And I'm going to line that up pretty well with kind of like what I've already got going on here in this drawing. And then my left, I'm going to line up as well. So that's going to come, actually going to do a little closer like this. That's going to feel pretty good, I think. I'm trying to get it kind of similar to what I have in my drawing. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. This one I want to pull out a little ways. Okay, we're going to get that a little less severe. A little less severe. And I think that's going to be fine. So let's do it. Boom. Off we go. We're off to the races. So now I've got my grid there. Now I can change the density. Some people like to have a really open grid or not even be able to see it at all, frankly, in which case you could just turn off the opacity. And if you do that, you're still going to be able to draw with a lot of assistance, and that's going to be fine, okay? I'll increase the density. It's nice for me. I like to be able to see a little grid in there, okay? But I like to keep that opacity pretty faint, so I'll do like a 14% opacity. Now you notice here we have two options for your colors. You have your left vanishing point and your right vanishing point. Lines that go to the left vanishing point, you can adjust here. So let's make them bright blue. How about that? And we'll keep that nice red color here for the right vanishing point. If I increase the opacity, you're going to see that much more clearly. Okay, there you go. Let's just keep it around maybe 23 or something like that. Zoom in for a moment. And there we have our grid. Now, look over here, snap to grid axis for drawing. See that? I'm going to leave that off for a moment, and I want you to see that when I draw now, oh, nothing happens. I'm just freehand drawing. All good. If I snap it on, right, see that? I can turn that on. Now look what happens. Oh, automatically, every line I draw is going to snap in perspective. Couldn't be easier. This is going to be such a huge time saver. So I'm either going to be drawing back to the left vanishing point or right vanishing point. And Fresco will intelligently understand what it is you're trying to do and automatically get that line to do its thing. This is wonderful. So let's clear that away and let's take our sketch and let's lower the opacity. Okay, I can still see it, but I don't want it to be too dark. Alrighty, and then I'm going to hide that panel for a moment and pause and see what kind of questions we may have, if any. So, any questions in the chat? Let's see. What do the grid lines do? The grid lines are telling you that you have left and right vanishing points. The pink lines are moving back towards the right vanishing point. The blue lines are moving back towards the left vanishing point. And that is why they are separate colors, okay? You do not have to have them visible at all, okay? The main thing you're going to get is that you're going to be drawing in perspective without having to actually worry or think about it. It's just going to happen automatically. It's going to snap. Every line you draw is going to snap either vertically, okay, or it's going to snap back to the left vanishing point or the right vanishing point. Now, if you're not familiar with the general rules of perspective, I would encourage you to look up these terms such as horizon line, vanishing points, and planes and things like that, so that what I'm doing makes sense. But I'll quickly, just to be helpful here, I'll show you that the corner of any object facing me, okay, such as a cube, it's going to have a left face of the cube, right? That's going to move back in space to the left, and you're going to have another face of the cube to the right here. So that corner is vertical, right? As are the other edges of the cube. And then you're going to have the underside of the cube. So this cube is hovering above us, and we can see the bottom face of it. We cannot see the top face, but if we had X-ray vision, it would look a little something like that, right? Okay. If you had a line through the middle of this plane, it would go like this, and if you had a line going through the bottom, it would go like that, and coming out the other side, it would go like that, and then connecting again like so. Okay, so we are drawing things in 3 dimensions. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's been a long week, folks. Let's try that again. I did not change my screen back. I was busy chit-chatting. All right, here you go. So, front corner, left plane, right plane. Getting a little sloppy here. My apologies. Underside of the cube, bottom plane of the cube. Okay, see that? And if I had a line coming down that side and all the way under and all the way to the other side and over and down and through. See what I mean? There we go. See what I mean, Jelly Bean? Okay. Yeah, it's one of those days, Steve. So sorry about that. So sorry. Did I do it again? All right. Yeah, it's live, guys. It's live. This is what you get when your host has been doing streams all week and is just completely fried. So here you go. Drawing a cube in perspective. There we go. Ah, there we go. Okay, much better. All right. Now you get the idea, right? And I was pretending we had X-ray vision and I could draw through it like so, right? Okay. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, but really, there are so many great basic little courses on perspective in general, and this, as being an illustration masterclass, is not really the place for me to explain exactly what perspective is, but rather to show you how to use it in this app with these drawing tools. I hope that's okay. All right. Bruce, thanks for being patient. I like it. Thank you. Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's awesome, Leah. I hope you've seen the one with... that little weird alien. It was the most famous one they ever did, I think. Best-selling VHS and DVD they ever made from that show. And for some reason, I'm blanking on the name of the character who was just so ridiculous in it. But there's a little boy, and he finds this little alien who looks ridiculous, and there's a band, like a makeshift band of people. I think it was a Swedish movie or something. Hilarious. Oh, Jason had a moment or two, Steve? Oh, I feel so much better. All right. Hey, guys, let's move on with this drawing. Okay, so I've got my rough sketch, and now I've got my perspective grid. And you can see right away how off my sketch was because, you know, I was trying to eyeball it. I did okay, but let's be honest, it's not great. So now we're going to do some real drawing. I'm going to use... let's go to really simple category of sketching, just this regular old pen right here. Okay, so I can just draw with this, easy peasy. But do bear in mind that any brush you use is going to work with the perspective tools. Okay, so that means if you want to use watercolors, you can use watercolors. It's going to work. Look, I can grab a watercolor brush and let's do this. We'll grab a little beautiful color there, wash flat. There we go. I'm drawing in perspective with watercolor. Amazing. Make my brush enormous, and you'll see how nice it is when all that paint blends and still does all the cool fresco things it does, right? Grab a different color, make it mix. Still fresco. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? But yeah, it's going to stick to those guides, right? So any old brush is going to do this for you. Clear that away. And I go back to my pen. Here we go. Bum. Remember, if you want to just draw freehand on this layer, you don't want to use the grids. You just pop them open and just tap right here. Bam, drawing. See that? Turn it off and you're free to just do whatever you want, which is what I would do if I'm drawing this person right here, right? That's what I would do, is I would just freehand draw them. Okay, so that's easy to do. You could leave this panel open if you like. You can hide your layers panel if you want a bit more real estate, right? No problem. Now is the time when I'm going to turn off the touch, okay? Because I do not want you all to be distracted by seeing that blue dot, and I also don't want to see that blue dot while I'm trying to draw. That's going to make my life pretty tough. But if you do have any more questions about the interface and about how it works, do let me know, please, in the chat, okay? All right, let's go. App settings, input. We go to touch and we say goodbye, show touches. All right, so now when I draw, you cannot see any kind of a hovering cursor, but you do know it's there, right? I think I'm actually going to switch over to my Belgian Comics brush just because it's a little fatter. And I want you guys to see really easily what I'm doing over here. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to turn on snap to grid axis for drawing. Now let's watch how quickly this comes to be here. I'm just going to draw the surface of this coffee table. I think it goes about there. By the way, notice, I want you guys to see there these magenta lines. See that follow me everywhere I go? These are so helpful because if I have to align a corner to another corner, for example, if I want to draw a box up here, right? Once I get to this point, I want to then draw back to the right, and watch, I'm going to stop right when that vertical line hits the beginning of the first line I drew. And I know exactly where I need to stop to align that. So this is going to help me be precise. So these little guidelines, I find them to be so helpful. See that? Bam. I go, okay, good. Stop there. Stop there. Here. Stop right when I see that line touch the other line. Really, really handy. I love those. Okay, moving on. Let's get this table drawn here. So, oops. I, of course, have to be precise with my pen as well. I'm rushing through this a little bit. There we go. And down we go. Gonna give this table a bit of depth, right? Which is very easy here. And let's throw the legs down underneath a little further back. Okay. Now, here is what you can do. You can create a separate layer for yourself underneath, and you can reduce the opacity of that layer. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to make this layer a little quieter, right? 50% or thereabouts. And I can use a different color if I want to really make this stand out, like a green. And I can say to myself, here, look, I'm just going to draw a line where that leg of the table meets the surface, the ground, okay? That way I know where I'm going to have to put my other leg to make it work, okay? And that's a nice thing to do. You don't have to do that. Of course, I could just come and do this and wait for that magenta line to show me where I need to be. But I like to just do these kinds of things to give me guidelines. It's just a thing I do out of habit. Okay, or like, for example, this table leg, if I bring it all the way back like this, I know that I have to draw another one here, and I'm going to see that leg back there touching the ground because I'm lining this up with that right vanishing point. Okay, so these are good things to do. It's like you can just come in and you can give yourself some little guidelines underneath your drawing if you want to be really precise, right? So I go here and I go here and I say, okay, that's going to appear off of my canvas, that other leg. I don't even have to draw it. So come back up here, use my recent colors and say, all right, now I know what I'm doing. Kablamo and kablamo, like that. And then I can just hide this layer and take a look and say, okay, cool, that's what I'm doing. Alrighty, makes sense? Great, hope so. Now for this couch, here's what I want to do. I'm going to start about here and just draw the front edge of it, okay? Drop down like this and then come out here using that magenta line again to really make sure I line everything up. Okay. Very nice. Nice brush. Yeah, Bruce, that's a good one. Thanks. Those are some nifty guidelines. Awesome, says Leah. Cool. But yeah, isn't this such a time saver? It's insane. I just cannot get over how easy this is. So we bring our little arm of the couch up here. We go back this way. Look how far off I was with my my original drawing. It's so funny how when you're sketching stuff by eye, you think, oh, I've got this. I've nailed this, you know. And then you go in and try and draw it, and you haven't nailed anything. Not even close, gang. Alrighty, we're gonna do like that. I like that design. I think that looks cool. Come back to that corner right there and we go up. See that? And there's a nice little arm for the couch. Feels good. Hey, you know, it'd be kind of nice. Maybe we add just another little thing right there. I don't know why. I just feel like that feels good for some reason. Once you start doing these lines, it's addictive, you know? All right, we're gonna go like that. This is a good opportunity actually for me to use these guidelines underneath. I'm gonna go back to that green color. What I'm gonna do is watch, I'm gonna say, okay, we're going back here and I'm gonna establish the depth of this couch. Okay, so I know where this ends and then where it rises up in the back. And I want that to be angled. Okay, so that's gonna be like about here. Give myself a little mark. So I'm gonna angle it from the point at the back of the seat up to the back of the couch right here. And I'm gonna then bring it back that way. And from here, I can bring it back. See, I wait for that little magenta line to hit the corner, okay? I go up from there, and I go up, and again, I now have the point where I'm going to be drawing from if I were to draw this vertically, right? So everything here lines up. All right, so then I can, for this diagonal, what I could do is this, check it out. I'm going to turn off the snap to grid axis for drawing. So it's no longer snapping. See that? I got freehand drawing now. But I'm going to take advantage of snap line. So I start in this corner here and I draw down to here and wait for it to be a snap line. So I draw and I pause and then I can just do that. And I see that's where that angle is, okay? See what I'm talking about? Bum, 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 like so. Okay, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make that work. All right, so I've got that little guide and that's really handy and helpful. I can do the same thing now. I can take this back a little ways and I can come up and maybe I can give it a different angle. So we showed that the furniture is not, you know, the same thickness, top and bottom. See, like that. Then I come back up to this other layer and I feel confident now that I've worked out where things need to be. So I can just do this, Uno. Here we go. Wait for snap line, there it is, beautiful. And wait for another snap line, there it is. Isn't that nice? Pop over to this side, snap line, ta-da, and snap line. Excelente. I'm going to turn back on my snap to grid axis for drawing now because this automatically makes it so everything I draw is going to be lined up beautifully. I just hit the microphone with my pen. Sorry about that. Don't know if that made a weird noise for all of you. It may have. There we go. Now, how would we do this bottom part of the couch on the right side, or this arm of the couch on the right side? Well, again, here's my advice. Come back to your little guide layer. Trying to teach you all some habits that are helpful here, okay? See this? I take these parts of the couch and I pull them over all the way through, okay? And then I can look at it and say, okay, so about here is about the width there of that, and all the way back to the top of that arm. Okay, and then I just follow my guideline back like this. And I'm going to get my side of the couch designed here. Boom. Boom. And that should work nicely. There we go. A little wider on that, I think. Feels pretty good. Okay. So I come back here now. And in this case, I could even do this. I could take my sketch and just, for the moment, just hide it so things don't feel too busy on my screen. You know, if things start to get too cluttered, you don't want to get confused and be like, what am I drawing again? So this gets dangerous because it's a tangent, so I'm not going to let it touch the chair. See that? Pardon me, the table. I'm not going to let it touch. See that? I just do this. And then we come on back that away. And up we go. And back again. And those are so close to each other you don't even get to see the edge very clearly. See that? How they sort of flatten out against each other because my horizon line is right about here. Sorry, where is it? Is it here? Yeah, there's my horizon line. So we're getting dangerously close to that horizon line, which is a perfect horizontal. Okay. Now, let's do some legs. So we're going to go down. And remember, if I want to draw this other back leg, I can use those magenta lines that follow my cursor everywhere. So I start drawing and I wait for the bottom magenta line to hit that front leg and I stop. Because I know those are going to be lined up with one another exactly the way they should be, which is really, really convenient. Okay. Now the back leg of the couch, if I draw it here, I notice it's not even going to be visible because, see that? It's not lining up with, if I wanted to have it visible, it would be through the couch. You wouldn't even see it to that back left leg. So I know not to draw it. It's great to have these little guidelines. They're very helpful. Okay, well, look how far we've come. We've got a couch. We've got a little table here. You know, you want to add some stuff. You can put a little magazine there. And maybe you put like a little box of some kind. It's got some cool little puzzles in it or something. Some coffee table kind of nonsense. Yeah, the stuff we all put in coffee tables, you know? Who knows? But that's so easy, and just draw it in perspective, no problem. And yes, of course, I realize that I'm drawing things that are all following along the rule of everything being aligned. And yes, if you wanted to get more fancy, you would create grids with multiple vanishing points. And you would have to do that in different layers, and you would have to decide what's going to align with what. But for everything in this instance, I want to keep it simple. I want everything to align with every edge of every object I draw to be oriented in the same direction so that we can see everything very easily, and I don't have to set up multiple vanishing points and use multiple grids. But speaking of multiple grids, I do want to mention that one of the cool things we're going to be doing is giving you the ability to use multiple grids in an illustration and still save them so that you don't have to switch the grid and then not be able to get back to what you use. So we're going to have previous used grids and so on, and that's going to be a really cool feature as well. Stay tuned for that. Remember that everything I'm showing you here, this is just version 1 of this feature. So good to know. Hey, let's see. Anyone know when the warp tool will hit Fresco, says Leah. Leah, you know what? Liquify is already on the way, and it's actually already in pre-release. If you're not signed up for our pre-release, please do sign up for pre-release because the Liquify is going to be there. And you don't have to save anything to Dropbox Adobe account. No, everything I do is automatically saved to the cloud as a cloud PSD, a Photoshop file. It just happens automatically. I don't have to do anything. It's just there. To answer your question about what Liquify is, Liquify allows you to just push and pull stuff. I can show you what it looks like if you want a little sneaky peeky. But remember that everything I'm showing you is very, very beta. So I'd be happy to do a little demo of that, a little sneak peek. So we'll pause this for a moment. And I'll just grab the old Project Gemini. There it is. Postpone that for now. We'll jump up in here and just open a little square dock for you. And here you go. I'll do a little charcoal. Actually, let's do something that actually looks like something. So we'll do a little face here. Okay. Alrighty. Now, if I take this and I say, oh, you know, I'd like to transform this a little bit, then what you do is you come on over here to, pardon me, Liquify. This is on the way. It's not here yet, folks, but just look over here. I got different options. See this? Ooh, so nice. All right, first most basic one is going to allow you to just do this. Just move stuff. Just liquify it. I want to move that nose up. Move it on up. Bump, 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 bump. So easy. Move that mouth up. Transform that face. Move that ear up. That ear is too low. Line it up with those other features. See what I mean? Simple, very easy. All right, of course you can change the brush size and whatnot. Come over here to your settings. Bum, 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 bum. This is the warp mode for Liquify. And you can change your brush size, yada, yada, yada. You have different modes as well. This is your smoothing, so this is going to smooth stuff out. You have things that are weird like this. This is our sort of twirl. Okay, so check this out. I just go, whoa, what the heck? Yeah, Liquify, coming soon to an iPad near you on Fresco, and it's very cool. Okay, hope that didn't blow your minds too much. Yeah, it would definitely help with the motion tools. I agree. Mercurial, you are jealous. Do not worry. The Liquify is coming very soon. Okay, this is not one of those things that's going to be months and months and months and months away. So not to worry. Okay, don't sweat it. Don't worry. Let us carry on here with our little drawing. Let's bring that sketch back. And we can see there's our person sitting there reading. I'll leave that for later. For now, I want to handle this doorway kind of deal we have going back here. So first I want to establish my ground plane, or rather where the floor meets the wall. So that's going to be like this right here. Okay, we go up. All right. And then we go over. I'm going to have this overlap with the couch. So I'm going to have a nice big passage on through to another room. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make that even bigger because I'd love for it to overlap with my figure who's going to be sitting there. Okay. And then this is going to be my space where the ceiling meets the wall. And here I can show, look, this has some depth to it, right? Like this. It's going to be like a chunky area where you go from one room to another, pass from that room into this space, like that. Okay. And then we've got our little ground plane back there. So we can say, oh, there's another room back there. I could go walk through this opening in the wall to get to that other room, you know, and maybe we show another wall back there. So we say, yeah, there's another wall there, and maybe there's a window in that room. See, all that stuff just starts to add to this idea that we're drawing in 3 dimensions, you know? A little picture on the wall or something like that. Another little picture right above it. Starting to make it look like more like a home or a space that's been, you know, decorated, so to speak. How about this? Let's do this. Let's do this. We're going to put a little carpet out here under this coffee table. You know, that might be a nice little detail. And here's something fun you can do. Take that perspective and turn off the snap to grid axis for drawing. Grab my eraser for just a moment here and go like that. Just erase a little bit and just kind of do that and show that there's a little bump in the carpet there. See, so it's not totally perfect. That's a fun little thing you can do. Put a little shadow underneath that, you know? See, isn't that fun? That makes a little difference there, doesn't it? Okay. There you go. Now, let's get back to what we were doing over here with the main drawing. I wanted to have some lights. And, you know, I just realized something. I want to show you something very cool. And I've decided instead of using rectangles for the lights, I'm going to draw one light right about here. That's going to be a circular light. Okay, and it's going to be like this, coming down from the ceiling like that. What do you think about that, folks? Now, how would I do that in perspective? Well, we've got you covered. Wait until you see this. Get excited because this is going to be very cool. So I'm going to hide my sketch for just a moment here so you don't see too much stuff, and I'm going to take my opacity down on my grid. So there you go. And I'm going to reduce the opacity of that green layer. There, everything's nice and crystal clear. And what I want you to notice is down here at the bottom right, see where my touch modifier is here? Okay, I'm highlighting that with my finger. look to the right of that, and you're going to see my motion stuff, and then right underneath that, you have a ruler. All right, so there's our ruler. Probably familiar with that in Fresco, but you can draw straight lines with it, no surprise. But did you know that if you long tap on it, you also have other tools, like a circle. See that? I can draw part of a circle if I want. I can move that circle around. I can transform it and make it bigger. All right, so these are our drawing aids that we have. They're very handy. But guess what? They work in perspective. They do. So let me open up that circle again. And underneath the circle, you're going to see a little gray bar. And next to it is our transform options. Okay, I'm tapping on that. But to the right of that, you see a cube with a line through it. That means I'm not using that cube right now. But if I were to use it, check it out. What's going on? The cube now has the left face highlighted. That means that if you want to align to the left vanishing points, you now have a circle that is doing that. So of course you're going to see an oval, because if this were the left side of a cube that we were drawing right now, that circle would be appearing as an oval. If I want to go to the right, I go like that. Okay, now it's aligning to the, sorry, it's the other way around. This is, I just messed you guys up. I'm getting myself confused. Left face of the cube lines up to the right vanishing points. Right face of the cube lines up to the left vanishing points. Come on, Kyle. Perspective 101. Now, I want to line things up with the ceiling, okay? So here we go. I'm going to do this. I'm going to tap on that last cube one more time. And watch what happens as I move. See that? As I come down towards our horizon line, we get almost a perfectly straight line, and then we move down onto the floor. So everywhere I move that circle, it's moving in perspective depending on where we are in our drawing. So if I want my light to be here, for example, okay, I want it to be hanging right here, I can resize it, make it a nice big one. And I can put it about there. That's going to be quite low. I can overlap a little bit with our corner of our other section of the room there. I can have it hanging out up here. Okay, there are lots of things I could do. So compositionally, I would just try and place it somewhere where I think it feels balanced, feels like a good spot. That's probably going to work right there. So all I do is just tap and I start drawing, and ba-da, done. And now watch this. I'm going to do a little guideline for myself, okay? Now, remember how I was using guides here on this layer? So let's go back to our green color, which is so handy. And I'm just going to draw a line straight up like that. Whoomp. Do a little snap line there. Or, you know, I'll just go ahead and turn on our align to drawing. That makes it so much easier. There we go. Bang. Bang. Okay, I know exactly how to line up my next part of the light, the top surface of that light, okay? So I go back to the layer where I was drawing that and tap on the circle. And let's get our blue color again. And now I want to move this upwards, okay? So here's something you can do with the old touch modifier. This is the touch modifier, this circle. If I hold it down and start moving upwards, see what happens? See that constrained Y position? It means I'm going to move it perfectly vertically. Okay, no problem. It's going to do that for me. I can say, how big do I want this light to be? Do I want it to be about that tall? Sure, fine. And then I can just tap. And let's go ahead and we're going to do this. We're going to draw just the top little bit of it like that. Okay. And then I'm going to turn off my drawing aid, and I just draw the vertical line to connect the top and the bottom of the light to line that up. And there you go. Now, of course, I could do that a little better. Come on, Kyle. Get that on the outside. There you go. There we go. I want, you know, try and be a little bit more accurate. But that's how I would draw that in perspective, okay? Pretty amazing that I can do this in Fresco that easily. And then I could come in here, where I've got my ceiling area, right, that touches the wall, and just erase that away. So now that overlaps very nicely right there. Voila. Makes sense? Now, if you really want to get fancy, and I know you do, come back to that circle for a moment. Okay, now watch this. I'll make another layer for this. And I'm going to drag it down this way. Okay, zoom in so you can see this. I'm going to tap, and I'm going to draw like this. See that? I'm doing these sort of lines that help to communicate that this has a three-dimensional form. You know, these are contour lines. Contour lines. See that? Fancy, fancy, fancy. Only the fanciest. That's what I want to teach you guys here. Only the fanciest stuff. Like, for example, how to share the right screen with your viewers. Okay, but check that out. Isn't that nice? Ada, thanks for joining us. Nice to see you. Vanessa, hello. You're late again? That's okay. Don't worry about it. Still made it. Yeah, it's changing shape with the perspective. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. Shifting my camera here for just a moment. I'm going to make this chat window longer because I like to be able to see what everyone's saying. It's only showing me a few little lines of chat at a time. Yeah, Leah, the other shapes are available using the ruler. Isn't that a great thing to know about? So handy, so handy, so handy, so handy. Indeed. Okay. So there you go. Now you can see how we've done this with the light. Okay, pretty cool. There are other details we could add because, you know, obviously this light is going to hang at a point in the ceiling that is higher than where we currently have this curved line at the top. So I would have to have some indication of like where the connection is to the ceiling. For that, I would just draw a straight line. Okay, so I just do this. Whoop, up it goes. So we know it's going to connect to the ceiling somewhere up there. A fun thing to do would be to draw it through like this so that we know, oh, look at that. It's connected somehow, right? And then you could do like this. You could be like, ooh, look at that. It's connecting now. So that it's actually, you can see like this sort of a structure on the inside if you want to get really, really fancy. Okay, that's fun. Oh, there's all kinds of things you can do here. You can put a little seam in it. Nobody ever wants to see the seam, but there it is. Okay, now what are we missing? Well, we're missing that big window. Okay, so let's put that in there. Let's do that. You know, do we want it still to be floor to ceiling? I don't know. It could pass behind the couch. Let's see. I'm probably going to start at about here and then have it come down to about there. And yeah, I could pass through, I guess. And see how I can do this. I can say, oh, I need a guideline there. I need to know where to draw that. So back to our guides we go. We use our green. So useful. I can say there's the height of that that doorway. Now, if I were a good interior designer, I'd want everything to, or architect, or whatever you want to call it, I'd want that to all line up nicely. The top of that with the top of the window. So come back to my window, use the blue, and there we go. And I say, yep, that feels good to me. What happens if I drop that straight down? That frames it very nicely. And I say, ah, got it. That's how I connect back to that side. Okay. And we can assume that outside of the window, you're going to see the wall from this room over here. Okay. So that's going to be just a passage that goes down and to the left. So that'd be the wall outside this home or whatever this is. Again, I can go back to my guides and I can say, let's do that. Let's use that green again. And I can say, this is how fat that wall is there. So maybe the window isn't quite so fat. Well, yeah, actually it would have to be, wouldn't it? It would have to be just as fat as that. Don't think you can get around that. You can't do that. It would have to be the same thickness. So These are the kinds of things you have to figure out while you're drawing. A little hard to do on the fly, but we'll make it work. So there we go. But what I can do here is I can show you like, oh, there's a pane of glass right there. That's the seam for that pane of glass, you know? Like that. And you could turn off your snap to drawing, and you could do some some snap lines like this. Ta-da! Just to show that like that reflective quality of the glass, you know. Do another one right here. There we go. We're looking at something transparent. Okay, fun. And we'll do one more close to it like that. Everything should be designed, even these little lines you're drawing, you know. Think about the design of those. And there's our window. You know, you could suggest some other stuff outside and whatnot, but I do want to quickly try and get that character, that figure in there. So let's try and knock that out quickly if we can. I'll turn off my guides here, and I'm going to take all these layers I've drawn so far and group them together. I just tap and drag. That's how you group layers in Fresco. I like that. It's very convenient, very nice. And that means I can take that whole group and I can lower its opacity. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I just did it for one part of the layer. Let's go back to that group. There we go. Let's take the whole opacity of that group down like that. And then we can add a little layer on top. And here's where I would just draw my figure. So bring that sketch back. You know, it doesn't help a great deal to have the sketch, but I have something there that I'm looking at, so it's not, I'm not going totally into this without any guides, you know? Now I'm freehand drawing. Bruce, yeah, catch the replay. Cool. Hope if you missed anything. Dwell magazine. You know, I used to subscribe to Dwell way back when. I loved that magazine. It was awesome. All right. Here is a really interesting looking person. Let's see. Actually, I gotta angle things back, so. Reading a Agatha Christie. I draw that hand correctly. It's always hard to draw this stuff without any guide. It's kind of fake it till you make it. I'm right in the middle right now of reading The Blue Train, Mystery of the Blue Train. Hercule Poirot. I love Agatha Christie. I haven't read all of them yet, so I've still got like another 15 or so Poirot mysteries to read. Big fan of Agatha Christie. Big fan. All right, we do that. We throw a little pillow back there. Like so. And then we double click to open up our other layer underneath here and just erase away the stuff that shouldn't be seen anymore. Okay, do that quickly. There we go. You can always use a mask or something if you want, you know, whatever, doesn't matter. Use the method that you like. I'm working in a destructive way right now, and that's fine. It's because we're pressed for time. Hide that sketch. And there you go, folks. Drawing in perspective in Fresco. So easy, so easy, easy. The only thing I didn't do is draw the little floor right here. But you know, there should be a floor here somewhere. That's pretty much it, though. You get the idea. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Be kind. And I'll see you next week. Ciao for now.